Let's get salty!
Everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and we're a little bit later again today because the patch notes have dropped for patch 34.2.2, which will launch today about an hour after this video goes live. We now know all the changes to all the buffed cards. We have a dev comment talking about, why we got 0 nerfs and when we could possibly see some more significant changes, and also some other stuff. I think there's like bug fixes. So we'll go through all these. If you enjoy the content on the channel, feel like I've earned your subscription, please hit that sub button down below. Give the video a like as it helps the channel out a lot. So yes, this patch launching today, which again sees 0 nerfs. So there is quite a bit of contention towards that, with like Hagatha Shaman, Discover Hunter, Protoss, and Mage. We'll talk about that, but let's go through the dev comment, which explains the purpose of this patch with well met. We've enjoyed seeing how we've been experimenting with new cards and archetypes since the last nerf patch shook up the meta, which it certainly did. We had been asking for nerfs forever, and we finally got Quest Warlock nerfed, like the Fire Axe stuff. And yes, it changed things up a lot. It's almost like nerfing the best decks can really help out, especially in a stale meta. Anyways, the standard meta game feels like it's in a good, stable spot right now, which is exactly where we want to be heading into the World Championships and winter break. Rather than toppling the top decks, we're using this opportunity to give you a few archetypes that you've shown have potential, some buffs. So I guess a lot of people have been playing Toki Mage, we're gonna get Toki buffed. While people have been trying to make Rafaam Warlock, we're getting Rafaam Buffs, right? Take a Aura Paladin, for example. It's on the rise, so we're giving Cardboard Golem a boost to help it shine. You've shown a lot of creativity with Time Looper Toki, and we think there's more to explore, so we're making it easier to use and reuse and reuse. We've seen your discussions about a couple of strong decks making waves, namely Discover Hunter and Hagatha Shaman. While they're popular at certain ranks, our metrics show their power and patterns aren't at a level that calls for changes at this time. We'll keep a close eye on the meta and watch how things evolve leading up to our next balance patch in the new year. So obviously these are in their scope of changes in the future. They just don't want to do it now. It makes sense, right? Like, they're good decks, but they're not oppressive, and they're going into worlds where if they make, changes to these decks, we don't know the boogeyman that will take the spot. Maybe the next top decks will be more oppressive and frustrating. You don't know until you make those changes. So with Worlds coming up, they know they have a somewhat diverse meta, and nothing is a clear outlier to like a large degree. So yeah, I get why they're not making changes. It would just be nice to, Elise Mulligan Simulator wasn't so prolific, right? That is a big deal. Anyways, let's go into the changes. So this was actually not in the teaser image I was provided early yesterday. I got it like 10 minutes before it went live with Cardboard Golem will be increased to 3 mana, 3/3 with, of course, Battle Cry. Increase the duration of auras in your hand, deck, and battlefield by 1. This was originally a 4 mana 4/4, has seen experimentation with, but never really been a meta card. But now you can play Cardboard Golem and like curve into Crusader Aura, for example, everybody's favorite card. It helps the curve a lot. And the current Aura Paladin has like 1 3-drop. I think it's Zeth. And that's like it. So this would help a lot in that regard. Will it be worth running? Hard to know. We'll have to see. It's felt pretty win more for the most part. And again, you're playing a 3 mana 3/3 into Crusader's Aura. You're not really getting the use of that aura anyways. But then you have the 5 mana Taunt Aura, which will have a bit more durability, give you a bit more time. It could really help out. So this is definitely a card I could very well see elevating Aura Paladin to the point of actual like competitive ability, which is really close. It's like a tier 3, tier 4 deck right now. So glad they didn't go crazy and buff like Gelbin or something, which is like the insane card of the deck. It's just getting to it has been a bit more of a difficulty. So Cardboard Golem, yeah, maybe it'll help out with that. So it goes to a 3 mana 3/3. Divine Augur gets buffed. Not only does it get buffed to 4 mana, right, from 5, but it's also a 4/5 where you Battle Cry, set the attack and health of every minion in your hand to the higher of the 2 stats. So the effect stays the exact same. It's a mana cheaper Plus, you get a health boost on the minion. You're only losing one attack. It's a Yeti with premium effects, so that can really help out the hand buff pre-stack. It's really bad though, and this doesn't help with one of the big issues it has. It's hard to get a lot of minions in your hand to buff. But 1 mana, big deal. Extra stats on the card itself is big deal. And I guess if you play a Divine Augur, on a Divine Augur, it's back to being a 5/5 if it has 0 buffs in hand, right? So it comes full circle in a way. And Power Word Barrier is now, instead of 2 mana, 1 mana, holy spell, give a character Divine Shield, give minions in your hand, plus 2 health. This is so much better. You can just play this on 1 into a 2-drop, particular like the 2 mana 1/4 can be a 1/6 taunt that heals you for 6. Kind of unnecessary for that type of a curve, especially when Inner Fire and like Topsy Turvy aren't in standard, but maybe this makes the cut in Wild. I wonder. I doubt it. But even though like Pip, I think it was called, you could Pip and get a bunch of powered barriers. I don't know. You never know with Wild. It could be a degenerate mode, but Nazmani Priest is like arguably the best deck in the format at High Legend. And I don't think that fits into that archetype at all. But again, who knows? It's a cheap 1 mana spell. It's something to look out for this. So this card, much, much better. Having the mana cost, huge deal almost always. And now the Eternal Hold does not go to 5 mana like I thought it would. Instead, you now discover any demon that costs 5 or more. If your deck has no minions, your next one costs 0. So again, any minion you want to play after discovering the demon, as long as your deck has no minions, you can play for 0. This is worded like Shock, the Hunter quest reward, where you discover a demon from any class. It's not just neutrals and Demon Hunter. You can discover a Warlock demon or whatever. So the options, your flexibility is way better. You have a better chance of getting something that's actually good. Will this card be any good? It's still 6 mana, which does feel pretty slow. So we'll see. But yeah, discovering a heck of a lot better than just getting one random demon and hoping it works out. Now you have a pretty good shot at getting something decent, like we've seen with Shock, right? Like that improvement to Shock of discovering, huge deal. I imagine this will help this card considerably as well. Solitude goes up a mana. They did not do anything like I said would happen. So I guess I'm relieved, where Solitude is now 3 mana. Discover 2 minions. If your deck has no minions, reduce the cost of any in your hand by 2. So now you're gonna get -4 mana guaranteed on the 2 minions you get. So 3 mana, cheap 4 mana. So you're actually kind of netting a little bit, unless you're only offered like 1-drops, right? Or wisps. There's only 1 0-drop, right? Regardless, that is a very considerable or different change that I was thinking would happen. You get way more value, and your Solitude, like you play Solitude into Solitude, you could do some pretty gross stuff. You're getting 4 minions, half of them get -2 mana, the other half get -4 mana. You're getting a bunch of stuff. This could be really darn good, actually, and not just incentivizing cycling through your deck to try and OTK faster. This is more of an incentive to just play no minion Demon Hunter. In my opinion, we'll see how it plays out. Maybe I'm wrong, but in my opinion, this really helps out the archetype and not just play cycle and play the card like it's not really, you feel like the spirit of the card is. So it does get a nerf in its mana cost, but you double the usage of it, which probably makes up for that. We'll see. But yeah, it's odd when a buff sees a mana increase to a card. We'll see how it plays out. Highborn Mentor, a little bit more of a conventional buff to you with this card. It is now a 7 mana 6/6. Get a 2/2 pupil, discover spell that costs 7 or more from the past to teach it. Functionally the exact same. It's just 1 mana cheaper, same stat. So you still get a 6/6, which is not super relevant, but you get it. But yeah, now on 9 mana, I can play both rather than I had to wait to 10 mana. It's a significant deal. Will it make this card playable? Probably not. There's a really wide range of cards in the past that aren't exactly the most beneficial out there. And I feel like Druid probably has better stuff to do, but certainly a welcome buff. And I guess Baku Druid in Wild will be eating this up. The odd cost, super relevant, very meta-defining archetype. We have the Kaldore Cultivator as well. Conventional buff to this one, instead of a 3-mana 3/4, it's now a 2-mana 2/3. Battlecry, discover 2 beasts, put them on the bottom of your deck with +5/+5, but this is pretty considerable change. Consider you play this on 2 and then play the 3-mana spell, right? That draws the bottom 2 cards from your deck. You can curve into this and get those beasts that you've discovered and chosen. And if you play like a 4 and a 5 that both have +5/+5, that could be pretty darn good. So will this make the cut in some kind of like curve bottom Druid deck? I don't know, but this is a big deal in regards to how the deck functions on curve, which we know is a pretty powerful thing in Hearthstone, so might be a bit more better than you think on paper. I would be surprised if this archetype pops off with this buff, but it'll certainly help out. Toki gets a significant buff here. She goes from a 4-mana 4/4, get 4 random spells from the past, and then you get to replay her and all that, to being a 3-mana 3/3 Battlecry. You get 3 random spells from the past. When you play all 3, get another Time Looper Toki. So you get less value initially, but you get to play her for cheaper, so every time you replay her, that's easier. You have less hand space issues because you only have the 3 spells, and again, to get to her faster, it will be a lot quicker because you only have to play 3 unless you're stuck with an unplayable spell, which can happen. But a huge buff to this card, which Toki Mage has seen a lot of play. She's not good. The deck is like 40% win rate, but a buff like this to this card, maybe, yeah, it elevates it to a playable semi-competitive level. Or she's a broken and I'm complaining about infinite random in Hearthstone. But yeah, way better. And again, Baku Mage can play her. I don't know why I keep bringing this up, but I do. And yeah, so really big buff to the card. And I'm sure Clark and I know Clark's been on the train of Toki, will be very excited for that. Next, we have the Rafaam Buffs with Tiny Rafaam getting a huge buff. I thought it would just be Battlecry. No, Tiny Rafaam is now a 1-mana 1/1, Battlecry and Death Rattle. Draw Rafaam. For 1 mana, you get a 1/1, you get to draw 2 cards basically. That's really good. That is a super solid change. So yes, Tiny Rafaam, way better, right? You get a proactive play with the Battlecry, and you get the delayed reaction of that Death Rattle. This would be a really good card to play on 1. Green Rafaam gets the buff of give Rafaams in your hand and battlefield +2/+2. There's also a note issue. Green Rafaam's text should say give other Rafaams in your hand and battlefield +2/+2, as he does not target himself. So if you generated more Rafaams, he doesn't work. This is a text issue only, and the wording will be updated to match the functionality in a future patch. That's a weird one, but okay, I guess there's fringe situations where that matters. And War Chief Rafaam now works like the taunt minion, where it gains 5 armor. If you're holding another Rafaam, gain 5 more, rather than having to control one. So you could just play this guy on curve as long as you're holding another Rafaam and gain 10 armor. That is really solid. Helps with the survivability of the deck, where you can just play this, try and stay alive, get to your Rafaam. So yeah, the card draw is a big deal. Tiny Rafaam, I think, is a very, very big buff. The green guy, it matters, but not a ton. Again, the main synergy is like the rush and the taunt minion, although yeah, just buffing all the other ones can be nice in general. And yes, War Chief Rafaam, pretty significant too, gaining the 10 armor. The Rafaam decks are like 35-40% win rate. They're really bad, and I don't know if this will elevate it, but hopefully it will boost their sales for the signature Gamba for Rafaam. But I don't think they're buffing it because of the freaking Gamba. The card is just not amazing, and I don't think they want it to be super competitive, but this helps a lot, and a lot of people want Rafaam to be better. Believe me, I see the comments. A lot of people don't want to see him buffed at all, because if he's really good, it's really boring for just play Rafaam, play Rafaam, play Rafaam. I play a card and win. That's also not the most exciting exciting thing at the end of the day too for a lot of people. But I don't think Rafaam is going to become an oppressive menace. And on that point, I don't think this patch is really going to shift the meta much. I think we'll see a lot of Toki early on. It'll probably up the win rates of the good decks as they farm Toki and Rafaams being experimented with. But they certainly don't hurt, right? Like, it helps bad decks, but will they be competitive now? It's probably pretty unlikely, but we'll have to wait and see. And lastly, we have just one bug fix for Hearthstone. Everything else, by the way, like there's Battlegrounds changes, patch notes will be linked down below if you want to take a look. But they fixed a bug where Time Looper Toki could give you cards that normally aren't allowed to be randomly generated. That includes like quests and stuff like that, triple rune cards, I believe. And yes, this does apply to the Final Frontier. That card there, they just didn't mention it, but I have had dev confirmation that with this patch, you should not be able to find Cthulhu or Eonar. The wild rule should be back in place for discoverability purposes. So there you go. That is the patch. Again, I don't expect a major meta shift. It'll probably be pretty minor. Worlds, we'll see next week how it looks, but I'm expecting, yeah, Shaman, Hunter, Death Knight, all to be really good still. Protoss Mage to really aggravate people still, and we'll see if they do decide to do a bit more significant balance changes. I guess it would be after the mini set in January. And of course, as these are expected to be the last patch notes of this year, no mention of Twist for an entire year. How about that? Maybe we'll hear about it in January, which again, we haven't heard about Twist since last January. That is insane, disrespectful, ridiculous in my opinion, but I can't make them do it. Eventually they'll just announce they're deleting the mode, right? Because what else are they gonna do at this point? Anyways, we'll have a day one patch review tomorrow. We'll have deck recommendations the day after. And then next week, we'll start getting ready for those world championships and all sorts of stuff. We'll also have like year-end recap stuff, which is always fun. Go over like the best cards, the worst cards, all sorts of stuff throughout the holiday season. So plenty of content to check out until, yeah, the new year, where we'll see that mini set, the next balance patch, and all that good stuff. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.